What's going on, guys? This is Seth Ward here, and today I am back with another college football prediction video. And this time I'll be talking about the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets going on the road to Folsom Field to face off the Colorado Buffs. This year's college football matchup for Week 0. I believe this will be Week 0 for the first week of college football. Both teams coming off of a good season. Well, Colorado is coming off of a really good season. Georgia Tech had some hype this year. They still did pretty well, in my opinion, for their standard. But I think that their standard, they want to be back to their old classic Georgia Tech football, where they were pretty good in the ACC. So this is an interesting matchup. I think that these two teams have not met before. So I think this is going to be a first matchup ever mini-series between the two. This will be played at August 29th of 2025. So this game will be very interesting to see. A lot of new faces, especially for Colorado, because as you guys know, that Shedeur Sanders is gone. And, of course, Travis Hunter is gone. Shiloh Sanders is gone as well. So a lot of players to the NFL draft and plus to transfer portal and, of course, a graduation as well. So also, I hope prime time, Deion Sanders will be back on the field coaching. I don't know what's going on with him lately, but there's some news about his health stuff. So hopefully everything will go well and smoothly with him. So I think they'll do all right. So as of further ado, let's go ahead and start this slideshow. So the last season record, both teams did pretty good. Colorado had their best season in like the last 5 years. They went 9-4, went 7-2 in the conference of Big 12. Probably shocked me the most. But hey, Deion Sanders is a winner, and everywhere he goes, he wins. So if you want to backtrack that statement, then go ahead and go find out if he's lost. He has winning records wherever he goes when he builds programs. So they lost in the bowl game in the Valero Alamo bowl game, which they got destroyed by BYU. BYU probably should have made the college football playoffs, but they were pretty good this year. So, so BYU pretty much handed them a loss at the end of the year. But still, hey, 9-4 season for Colorado is like just a Super Bowl champion season, because like Colorado hasn't had a winning season in a long time. Georgia Tech, on the other hand, not too bad either. They went 7-6, 5-3 in the ACC. Lost to Vanderbilt in a wild game in the Birmingham Bowl, 35-27. So there you guys have it for the last season record. And of course, last meeting, this will be, like I said earlier in the beginning of the video, this will be a first meeting between the two teams, and this will be like a mini series following next year. I think like Colorado goes to Georgia Tech next year in 2027 season. All right, coaches comparison. Both coaches are young, or not young, but both coaches have early years with both teams. Deion Sanders has done a great job so far, in my opinion. Though last year everybody thought that they're going to be like a 10-win team, but hey, from last year to this year, they went 9-4. Shedeur Sanders is a great quarterback. Travis Hunter, Heisman winner, and of course, first pick of the overall draft. Second pick of the overall draft. Just amazing, just because it's Deion Sanders. Went 13-12, and of course 9-4 last year in 2 seasons. Brent Key has done a great job so far in 3 seasons with Georgia Tech, even though it's 18-16, but you always have to build your programs from the ground up, so that's why it's not going to start easy. It's always going to have a process with team building, especially in this day and age with the NIL and the transfer portal and all that chaos. All right, so the location is Folsom Field. I believe it's maybe like a 3:30 p.m. game. I don't know. So someone comment down below what time this game will be. But I actually been to Colorado, so I actually been to the stadium. Really cool. The setting, the atmosphere. I mean, it's just amazing. Like the mountains in the background, you can't beat it at all. It's just pretty incredible to see. All right, so players drafted. I usually like to just screenshot from AI, but you know what? I like to just do it by myself and just actually put some more info on there. So take it with a grain of salt if I miss some stuff. But wide receiver / defensive back, Travis Hunter. Sorry for the background with the lawnmower. Travis Hunter went first round, second pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Shedeur Sanders got screwed in the NFL draft, but he went 5th round, 144th pick to the Cleveland Browns. We got wide receiver LaJohntay Wester was 6th round, 203rd pick, Baltimore Ravens. And, of course, wide receiver Jimmy Horn Jr., who's a sleeper pick, in my opinion, 6th round, 208th pick of the draft. Shout out to Panthers, my team. And, of course, players that weren't signed was B.J. Green, Jaguars, Shiloh Sanders, Bucks, Will Shepard, Bucks, Cameron Silliman Craig to the Jaguars. 8 players drafted since 2017. I think that's like the most they've ever had drafted in 1 year, which is pretty incredible. And guess what? That's because it's from the Deion effect, because he actually can develop players. All right, so players drafted from Georgia Tech. Only 2 players drafted for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. So tight end Jackson Halls, 5th round, 173rd pick. And of course, defensive lineman Zeke Biggers with 7th round, 253rd pick to the Miami Dolphins. They only had 2 players drafted since 2013. I don't think they had any players signed, so take that with a grain of salt if I'm wrong with that one. All right, so players transferring out. So Colorado had a bunch of players transferred out. I think this is the correct amount. They had 28 players transferred out of the 2024-2025 season. We got Nakaye Hill-Green transferred to Alabama. Dylan Edwards, who was like the starting running back last year, transferred to Kansas State. Deion Hayes transferred to Texas A&M. Linebacker Jalen Wester transferred to Western Kentucky. Running back Isaiah Augustave transferred to South Carolina, or Augustave, something like that. And Georgia Tech had 25 players have transferred out of Georgia Tech. We got Eric Singleton Jr. went to Auburn. We got defensive edge rusher Romello Height transferred to Texas Tech. And, of course, offensive tackle Corey Robinson II transferred to Arkansas. Defensive back Tay Seymour transferred to Auburn. And defensive back Siad Gibbs transferred to Kansas. Okay, so 27 players transferred in to Colorado. This is just like top 5 players that transferred in. So if I missed anybody, that's key players. Just comment down below who I missed. We got defensive lineman Jaheim Otis, transferred from Alabama. Caden Salters, who's pretty good, transferred from Liberty. We got wide receiver Sincere Brown, transferred from Campbell. Wide receiver Joseph Williams, transferred from Tulsa. Offensive lineman Mana Tamani, transferred from Ole Miss. And then we got Georgia Tech. 20 players, I think, possibly transferred into Georgia Tech, so not too bad. We got wide receiver Eric Rivers from FIU. We got Akello Stone, transferred from Ole Miss. John Mitchell, transferred from Penn State. Brandon Manley, transferred from Mercer. And, of course, defensive lineman A.J. Hoffler, transferred from Clemson. Okay, so now we go to the top 3 offensive players and defensive players, like quarterback, running back, wide receiver, defensive lineman, linebacker, and defensive back. So we got quarterback transfer, Caden Salter or Julian Lewis, whoever the two will be the starting quarterback. But I think that with veteran play, I think Caden Salter, I don't know why I keep saying S, but Caden Salter may be the starting quarterback, so let's just put him there as for now. With 147 completions, 261 attempts, with 56.3% completions, we have 1,888 passing yards, average about 7.2 per throw, 15 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And of course, running back Dallin Hayden, I think that's how you pronounce his first name. 64 carries, 196 rushing yards, average about 3.1 per carry, had 1 touchdown overall from last year's season. And then we have wide receiver Omarion Miller with 10 receptions, 216 yards, average about 21.6 per reception and 1 touchdown. So a lot of new faces, especially for Colorado and Deion's offense. So it's going to be very interesting to see next year. All right, so we got 10-year starter Haynes King. I know he's a 6-year senior, which is crazy. He had a great season last year. It's just still, this is wild that this is his 7th season as a quarterback. Yes, I know he had injuries in the past, which gave him some more time in college. So he had 196 completions to 269 attempts, 72.9% completion percentage. Pretty good with 2,114 passing yards. I think he was more of a rushing type quarterback last year too. So he averaged about 7.9 per throw, 14 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. It was pretty good for Haynes King. Now the running back, pretty solid as well. He had 169. Jamal Haynes had 169 carries with 944 rushing yards, averaged about 5.6 per carry. Had 9 touchdowns as well. And of course, the transfer wide receiver that potentially is going to be the starter for this upcoming season was wide receiver 1 for Haynes King. We got Eric Rivers, with 62 receptions, 1,172 receiving yards, averaged about 18.9 per catch, and of course he had 12 touchdowns overall. So really solid pickup transfer for Georgia Tech. All right, so the top 3 defensive players for both teams, we got Amari McNeil from Colorado, defensive lineman with 25 total tackles. He had 12 solo, 3.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. Then we got linebacker Samuel Akunlola. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Probably just destroyed it. But he had 30 total tackles, 18 solo, 3 sacks. And of course, lastly, we got defensive back Carter Stoutmeyer with 42 total tackles, 33 solo, 1 forced fumble, and 7 pass deflections. That's pretty impressive. So a lot of key guys coming back for defensively for Colorado. So that's going to be huge for Deion Sanders. And of course, you also have players in the transfer portal who are going to be key players for this upcoming season. All right, so the top 3 defensive players for Georgia Tech. We got Jordan Vandenberg with 23 total tackles, 14 solo, 1 sack, and 2 fumble recoveries. Not bad at all. We got linebacker Kyle Efford, who's going to be a key component for Georgia Tech's defense with 64 total tackles, 33 solo, 3 sacks, and 1 pass deflection. And of course, defensive back Amari Harvey with 62 total tackles, 47 solo, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 1 interception, and 2 pass deflections. So both linebacker and DB position key players are back, and they may be very impactful. All right, so now we go to team stats this year. Total offense, we got 383.2 yards per game for Colorado. They're ranked 6th in the league with 318 passing yards. The rushing game was pretty bad last year. They were good on the passing game, but the rushing was just not that great. So they were ranked 134th in the nation with only having 65.2 rushing yards per game. So that's not great at all. Points for they were not bad. Averaged about 32.9, which was ranked 31st in the nation. Their points against was not too bad either. I mean, it was 23.1, but still coming back from a losing season to going 9-4, pretty solid in my opinion for Colorado. So they were tied 42nd in the nation. And for total defensively, they had 351.9 yards per game. Pretty average in the Big 12. And they only allowed 200.5, which is pretty good, passing yards, and only allowed 151.4 rushing yards. So not too entirely bad. So I give them credit for that. So there you have it for that. All right, so for Georgia Tech, they were ranked 54th in the country because I think they were more of a running type team with only having 237.5 passing yards, was ranked 54th in the nation. Not so great, but so that's their standard, I guess, right for last year. Rushing yards, 187.0, averaged about 32nd in the nation. So a lot of running, I think, low-scoring games last year. They should have beaten Georgia last year. That game was just crazy to think about. And, of course, points for, we got 28.3, which is tied for 64th, so they were not a high-scoring team. And, of course, defensively, not so great, with average about 25.6, which was ranked 72nd in the league. Total offense was 424.5 yards per game. Defense, total yards, which is 342.8 yards per game. They only averaged about 220.7 passing yards per game. Not too bad either. And, of course, rushing yards, they only allowed 122. So I guess a lot of games were I guess you can say, were a lot of mental mistakes, and they could have some games that they should have won last year, but it is what it is. All right, so lastly, the final prediction of this year's matchup between Colorado versus Georgia Tech. I know that it's at Colorado and anything can happen, but with a lot of new faces and with a new quarterback, new transfer players, or just players in general starting for Colorado, I don't know what's going to happen with Colorado this year. So I think that the safe bet, I believe that Georgia Tech is going to win by minus 10 points, and the score is going to be 27-17. I know this may be crazy, but I think maybe this might be a rebuilding year for Colorado because they just lost like half their starting offense, half their starting defense to the draft, and just from graduation and the transfer portal. So I think that with a lot of the same faces for Georgia Tech, with the running back, wide receiver, and they just picked up a wide receiver, and their defensive players coming back too, I think that Georgia Tech is the safe bet here. So I'm going to go with minus 10 with 27-17. That will be a score at Colorado. But like I said before, anything can happen. It's home field advantage for Colorado, so they could potentially win this well. So this is just my perspective, and then that's what I'm going to go with the score. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Set 40 here. Y'all have a great rest of the night. See y'all next time.